I'm Kathy Van Ness from the Golden Door. I'm sitting here tonight with Beth Schiff from Chopped and from a lot of other shows we're going to talk about. And we're super excited. July is a whole month about cooking and nature and good food. And we're going to get to learn a lot. If you're a fan of the adrenaline-packed culinary competition series Chopped, in which chefs must make a gourmet 3-course meal against the clock with a gaggle of often wacky mystery ingredients, ranging from figs and fruit to cookies and cod, you probably have the same questions we do. I'm here tonight to ask some of those questions. But first, about you. What's it like in the life of a casting director?
What I like about being a casting director is that it is different every day. There's no 2 days that are the same. Every day we are either, and I'll back up. As a casting director, whether you're doing film, whether you're doing TV, whether you're doing reality, whether you're doing print, someone comes to you and says, I need and then the idea is to go out and find it and give the client, the producer, the director, the photographer choices. So
but you have to go out and find real people.
Yeah.
Not just, people who are maybe trained in the art of acting, but real chefs, male and female, with real stories to tell.
Yeah.
Is that hard? I mean, they hear Chopped and they sort of, I want to do it. Or
sometimes. I mean, someone asked me earlier, because I've talked to various people throughout the few days that I've been here, and I liken it to dating in a way, where it's like, so there are people that come to us, and there's people that are really interested, and then they're the people that we want. Right. So it's not always the people that want you that you want, and all that kind of stuff.
I would imagine for a chef that's a very cool thing to be on Chopped.
Not everybody
not
is
the
into
high
it.
chefs probably.
Not everybody is into it.
Is
Some
that
chefs
right?
don't feel, they're not competitive,
Right.
or they feel like it's not the right fit for them, or they're not ready. They don't feel up to it. Yeah, I'm sometimes surprised, that more chefs don't, that more chefs don't want to do it.
Well, and there's so many shows. There's Chopped Regular, and there's Chopped All-Stars, and
Right.
Chopped Champions, and then there's Chopped Kids.
Right, that's a new series. So Chopped has been on since January 2009. We just shot our 400th episode.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Like last week before I came here. And last summer we started shooting Chopped Junior. And so for those of you who don't know, Chopped is generally 4 chefs per episode, and they're adults, anywhere from 18 plus to 70. There's no age limit.
Right.
And the kids version, Chopped Junior, is our little, I call them small fries.
And they said that young kids cooking on TV wouldn't work, but it's all over.
Age 9
Right.
to like 13
All over.
or 14.
I know. Those poor kids. When they get that giant octopus in the basket, what are they really saying? Think about it. Like, I'm 12 and I have to take, Fruit Loops and make dinner with an octopus.
Yeah.
What do they?
It's crazy.
What do they say when they open that basket?
Well, that's what Chopped's all about. It was designed originally to be like, what's in my pantry? What do I have? What can I make? That's because everybody plays that game. I think everybody plays that game all the time. I open my refrigerator 5 times thinking there's going to be something new in there.
Right, still the octopus and the Fruit Loops.
Yeah, but the Chopped, the wild card is like, or there's always a wild card in the basket. There will always be, a Fruit Loops or Skittles or peanut butter or something that you don't think necessarily goes for kids and adults.
And I saw somewhere in one of the research pieces that we did that there actually sometimes take certain ingredients out of the kitchen to make it more for not for the kids, of course. But
not for the kids. So back in the first couple seasons, actually, and if you watched back then in 2009 or 2010, so what would happen is they would sometimes remove things from the pantry, so there wouldn't be ingredients there, or there would, let's say, be a dozen eggs at the start of the round, and if all the eggs were gone, all the eggs were gone.
There's no more eggs.
So you had to negotiate with your neighbor or your fellow chef if you needed an egg or whatever. We don't really play those games, those sabotage games much anymore. We sort of just, the drama is inherent in the clock and the ingredients.
So it's such a popular show. What do you see is next for Chopped with all these new extensions of the show? Do you see it still evolving in other ways?
Well, we constantly brainstorm. I've been with the show since season 1. And I am very close in sort of the executive team with the producers, and we are constantly brainstorming. what else? Where else? Who else can we find to cook? What else can we feature? Recently, something just aired that they called First Date or Blind Date, where literally my team had to find 8. It was 4 men and 4 women, and we paired them up. They did not see each other until that moment at the basket. So that was what they call a stunt.
Yeah.
We're constantly coming up with things so we
there's
can
a lot
keep
of themes
people
like
interested.
firefighters and barbecue and
One of my favorite themes that we did was highlighting school food. Don't really like, we call them school chefs instead of lunch ladies, but it was so amazing. And the other thing is I learned so much about what's going on in school food. And it was really interesting to be able to highlight 4 women from around the country who are all really passionate about food and cooking in their communities and how close they are with the kids, and it was just really incredible and special.
So you I know you also do some work with CBS's American Baking Show, which is also unique. But I want to ask a different question before I talk about that. With all of these now networks doing food shows, which are still wildly popular, where do you see it going? Do you see we always have trends in industries. What's the trend in this industry for that?
I don't know. I mean, we kind of internally say like we work on Jeopardy. We sort of work on Jeopardy for the Food Network because, we have 400 episodes and like they can run them all the time. And I think
they do.
Yeah, and I think everyone's trying to figure that out now, what it is.
Because there's so much out there.
Yeah. I think it is. I mean, nowadays, I think there's a lot of what they call travelogues, like the Anthony Bourdain or the Andrew Zimmern, where they're, running around or going to cheapest tacos or, the most exotic whatever. I feel like that's popular right now, and everyone's trying to find out.
Does it make it harder about the ingredients? Because those ingredients sometimes are so crazy. You're in the middle of, Vietnam, and you're putting together these ingredients with Anthony Bourdain, and it's like, oh my gosh, he's not really going to eat that.
Yeah, but when you're there, they definitely.
Even for yourself, do you have to keep pushing the envelope on ingredients?
We always push the envelope. So it's really interesting. So there's a culinary producer on the team, or any food show has a culinary producer. There's someone behind the scenes or a team that are culinarily trained. And so there's thought that goes into every basket on Chopped. And we are constantly trying to push the limits. And it's funny because she and I talk a lot because I'm getting the chefs, so she wants to know what they can handle, or what food perspective, or what's going on. But she'll literally say sometimes, she's like, sometimes I can't source ingredients, like I can't get ingredients from Vietnam over here. So the Anthony Bourdains and the Andrew Zimmers that go over there can eat a lot differently than what we can have domestically.
But you do have to continue to push that envelope.
Yeah, we're always looking.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was there's something called the Fancy Food Show, that is one in New York and one in LA, I believe. And it is just a show that is all these artisanal producers of food and kitchen products. And so we're constantly, I brought back a couple of things to the culinary producers and I was like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? What do you think about this?
So the Chop show's about an hour, give or take, 20. Of course, it's 100% cut down.
Yeah.
But it's 12 hours.
Yeah, it's a long day.
It's a long, so now we're all watching that show, it's 12 hours of getting this right, getting those emotions right, filming all those perfect spots.
Yeah.
What happens in that 12 hours to keep everybody looking so surprised and fresh?
Well, the thing also about Chopped is that there really is always something going on. Like with movies and commercials and things, there's a lot of downtime in between if it's not your scene or whatever. Like we're really going from 6 a.m. when the chefs show up and they're getting mic'd up and they get a full walk through the kitchen. So they haven't seen the kitchen before. They're allowed to bring 7 knives, no tools, no spoons, no corkscrews, 7 knives, up to 7 knives. And they get mic'd up and they get a full walkthrough so they know they can look and see where everything is. And so then by 8:30, baskets are open and they're cooking. So the reality of it, it's funny because there's only, 30, and 20 minutes of cooking. But then there's a lot of judging and tasting. Each person gets a certain amount of time to present their dish. And then there's deliberation. Right. And then there's chopping.
And the way you see it as an audience, you see it delivered, but that's not really the way it happens because they're actually tasting it hot.
Well,
are going back. There was sort of, I saw a couple dialogues and research out there that said that the judges actually get up sometimes and go over and taste it hot. Otherwise, everything's ice cold.
exactly. So, the first person that delivers their food, would have the advantage then.
Right.
Versus the fourth person. So once they're done cooking, the time is the time, by the way. Like, they
It's
don't know
real.
what's in the basket.
Yeah.
The time starts and it doesn't stop for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And luckily, and I'm going to knock on wood, we've never had to stop the clock and we've never had to do over anything. So,
Really?
That's
That's pretty fortunate.
thankfully.
Yes.
But, so once the time is up and the dishes are done, the chefs go to what they call sequester, and the judges do go through the line and taste just so they can get a sense of what this dish was like hot, or if it was supposed to be hot, or what it was supposed to be at the moment it was made, so it doesn't sit around.
Right.
So no one will get chopped because their sauce broke,
Right.
or you only get chopped if the ice cream melts. If you're putting it on cold ice cream on a hot thing and it melts, and you're like, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that's probably a problem. That's not good.
Right.
So there's not a lot of relationship before they're shooting between the judges and the chefs either. They keep them pretty.
Yeah, no, the chefs do not know who the judges are until they're walking out and being introduced.
And as they, what is it like when the judges are sitting back there talking? Is it sometimes you say, oh my God, this really hard decision. I really like this person. No.
Yeah, they argue.
They argue. But
They argue on camera, but they do
off, I would imagine. Because
they
all of a
do
sudden
argue.
they come up and they pick the person, you're going, whoa, how does that happen?
Yeah, no, they definitely argue. And that's why there are three. There was a food show before us. I think they had two judges, and they realized you can't have two because there can't be a tie. So there's always three, and they definitely argue and discuss and debate.
Who's your favorite judge?
Honestly, I really like them all,
I know,
and I
they're
love
all
them
good.
all
They're all
in
different.
the same. In
Although we know
different ways.
Scott, don't give him a lot of salt, I think it is, or what was it, dill or salt or something. He says something
Scott-
odd, remember? Onion,
Right.
that's it.
Scott
Thank
doesn't
you.
like
Good.
onions.
Go, you are a
Everyone
shop
likes
person.
the spice.
Yeah, they all have their. Yes,
Amanda
he
loves
does.
chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah, so every all the chefs have their own likes and dislikes.
So have you ever thought of making a Chopped recipe book? Are the recipes that good?
So there is a Chopped cookbook out, and to be honest, our production company didn't have a lot to do with it. I think it would be. I'm actually not sure what the recipes are in it, but I mean,
It's very quietly marketed.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they would have recipes that were like Skittles and rice cracker and.
So there's
eel.
a couple of shows that the ingredients came from the audience. How was that done? Was it just
Online.
voting? Right. So,
Online.
so people just put together the whole baskets or said, I'd like you to use this ingredient? Or?
Viewers' choice. Yeah, it's called Viewers' Choice, and you can
exactly.
go online and vote, and then whatever the top ingredients are come out of the basket. And chefs hate that episode.
Yeah, they do.
They hate that episode. They do not. They want to curse the viewers at that point.
Yeah, they're not too happy because it's usually really strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like durian.
So
if you know
the
what
stress
durian
is definitely between the cooking and the time clock. What's happening with the emotions of what's the craziest thing that you've ever seen happened on Chopped? There has to be a lot of great stories.
Things. I mean, there's a lot of, unfortunately, people cutting themselves and hurting
there's a lot of
themselves because they're moving so fast.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the craziest thing is. People slip and fall, and it's not good. I don't know what the craziest thing is. I'll think of it and I'll get back.
So you're shooting in New York in Chelsea's Market, great place.
Yeah. So we're a New York-based show. We've always been a New York-based show. We shoot in Chelsea Market. The only times we've been on location have been for our grill tournaments.
Right, the grill
And there's one running now, which it's Tuesday night. We could all go watch. No, I'm kidding. But so we've been out in the fields on open fire, which has also been really interesting.
So I read something interesting, like what are they eating while they're working? And they're not eating their foods, of course. They're bringing in and you're feeding them other things, like a real show. You have a real...
Oh, yeah. No, we have a catering.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we work on a food show. So when I said we're up at 6 or people are at 6,
You
there's
have a real food truck, yeah.
from 6
Totally.
to
all day.
All day long. There's a caterer. There's somebody that's catering. And
So what do you think of Cutthroat? Do you all know Cutthroat?
Do you know Cutthroat Kitchen?
Does anybody know Cutthroat? Cutthroat is where you, oh my God, you're given like crab claws. And you have to have 2 crab claws and you have to try to cook with these crab claws.
Yeah, it's like a sabotage.
It's a
if we were
sabotage.
cooking together,
Yeah, you'd be
I'd be like,
sabotaging me.
I would somehow negotiate that you have to cook with one hand behind your back.
Exactly, or I'd have to
Or
cook
one foot.
blindfolded. or
on
with
one
no
foot.
spoons.
Yeah.
It's really cute. It's really great if you watch it on television. It's
I
quite
mean,
good.
I think it's entertaining.
But it's not really for the chefs.
But it's not for the chefs. And chefs ask me all the time after they've done Chopped, they're like, should I do Cutthroat? And I'm like, you know, it's a different production company and a different game. But I was like, you can, only if you want to have fun. Like, it's something to just be silly and have fun.
Personal.
It's not going to highlight your culinary ability
Not
at all.
Like when you have no knives and spoons and you're cooking on a torch.
Yeah, I saw someone cook
I'm
with
sorry,
like
it's literally
the smallest
a torch.
skillet ever. It was,
Right, like
it was
it's a skillet like from a
this tiny,
dollhouse.
it fit a
Make
spoon.
your big lasagna dinner and here's your pot.
Yeah.
And
So-
win, by the way.
But I always wonder, like, because I don't really know that many people who work on Cutthroat, but I'm like, there are people that's their job. They sit and they think of the challenges.
I know.
And they have to be
Can you
doable.
imagine?
They have to be doable, and they have to be legal. And they have to be
legal.
yeah, and they can't be, you know, harmful. So just like our team sits and, you know, we have thought into everything. We have thought into every single chef that goes on the show, every single ingredient that goes in the basket, every single judge that's on the show. There is so much thought that goes into every single episode.
Is it important to sometimes match the chef stuff, or they just have to be completely surprised? Or do you sort of know the show and you match the chefs to the show that you recruited? Is there some sort of alignment with the way your chefs are selected and the show?
Yes.
Like ahead of time?
Yes.
Like I'm thinking, these are our baskets. How far in advance are the baskets even done?
Months.
Months, exactly.
Yeah, months. They're done months in advance, although they're always tweaked because also we, I'll get back to that in a second, but also we have to take in consideration allergies. So if a chef that we want in a show has an allergy, like can't touch an ingredient,
they're vegetarian.
we're not going to put an ingredient in the basket. But yeah, there's thought that goes into everything. I mean, we've had lots of themes. We had like a pizza theme, a burger theme, a meatball theme. Like we have different themes, and so we're constantly looking at chefs and saying like, who would be great for that theme?
Does it matter that they come from a state? Because sometimes you see they all come from New York or they all come from Tennessee.
We put thought into that too. We always like to highlight different regions. So, you know, last season we were in San Francisco. We had a couple episodes that just highlighted San Francisco chefs.
Tell our guests that. Exactly how do you go out and find the chefs? You just have a casting call and you like let it known in San Francisco, okay guys, we're here.
Yeah, so we do put it out on Craigslist and
Really?
social media.
Really?
Yeah,
Isn't
Craigslist.
that interesting.
Well, because also
Right?
chefs
You
look,
knew, right?
well, chefs
okay,
look
we
for
know
jobs.
you came from Craigslist on Chopped.
Yeah, right. Chefs look for jobs on Craigslist.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but we also, I mean, social media has been amazing.
yeah.
I mean, social media has been unbelievable in terms of finding people. But no, I have a whole team. Like, I joke about this. Like the first season, we did 13 episodes. We now go into like 39 episodes. So my team is like 20, 25 people deep, and from me down to people just graduating from college or interns. So if anybody has interns that want to help find chefs, but it's
gonna be fun.
We do our research, we build lists, what's going on in that city, not just restaurants, caterers, private chefs, pop-ups, food trucks, any place that has food, any person that's doing something culinary related. We call, we email, we follow up.
Do you ever have a chef not show? Like they're ready to go and they're supposed to be there?
To the show, has
Do you have to have
anyone?
backups?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You have to have a backup. You
backups.
have to have a backup.
Yes, it's happened once that somebody did not show up and they claim that they thought their episode was the next day. But yes, you have to, because you can't. I mean, it costs too much money. The
Right,
show
of course.
can't go down.
Right.
So you always have to have a backup. So really, it's like 5 chefs per episode.
Really?
Yeah, and that person and the standbys, the backups have gone on. I mean, you wouldn't know it as a viewer,
No,
but the standbys, and that's how we sort of also sell it. I'm like, you really could go on, and you really do need to be prepared. And there have been standbys that have gone on and won.
Really?
Yeah.
And they must be so nervous, though. I mean, you're seriously trying to make this like meal. These
Oh yeah.
these things that are really, crazy things that you give them to make.
Chefs tell
Crazy
me-
parts of the body of the animals, crazy.
Yeah, chefs tell me it's one of the hardest things or the hardest thing they've ever done.
And what about the champions? You see, the stars getting chopped by their friends.
Yeah.
What is that really like behind the scenes? I mean, they're obviously super friendly and professional.
Yeah, I think those are some of my favorite episodes because those are some of the high-end chefs who can really manipulate ingredients and get super creative. And as champions or celebrity chefs, they've already sort of played the game. They kind of understand it. And so I love watching. That's what I love watching. Is like really.
Do you see
great
more of
chefs.
that? I mean, you've played a lot of them already. Do you see that continuing? Because there's just so many to use.
I think they
Is
always
it like Iron Chef is a great show.
Right. It is a great show. You know what I'm seeing, what the trend is, or what we're seeing more is celebrities. They love celebrities. Yeah.
Right.
Actors,
Cooking. Yeah.
musicians.
Right.
They love seeing celebrities cooking, talking about food, cooking food. So that's a big thing now too.
Well, we're getting the inside view of what it's like in the future. So what is it like to recruit the kids?
So I don't actually
Oh, you
recruit
don't have
the
to do
kids.
that.
But I do. So I've done all the teens, 13 and up. But I don't on Chop Junior. I actually booked the judges. So Chop Junior, the 4 kids are between 9 and 13, and then they decided instead of our regular judges, they wanted to have 1 regular celebrity chef and 2 celebrities. So then I now book the celebrities. So, for example, I booked. Now I'm gonna have to remember who's aired. Hayden Panettiere came on, and Alison Sweeney and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Chris Colfer is coming. Actually, they've released the lineup. So that's been a whole new challenge of trying to book celebrities to come on who love cooking or food or have a connection to be on the show.
So when the chefs are asked to leave, of course, you know this part, they're asked to go into the little sequestered. You're filming the whole thing.
Yeah.
Listening to every word, picking
Yes.
the perfect moments.
Yes.
That must be interesting, right? Because it's obviously not the 2 seconds we get to see.
Right.
Like, we all love you, I hope you win, yes, hug, 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 yes, yes. Right. What else is going on in there?
A lot of times they talk about the ingredients and what they wish they did
Yeah.
or what they should have done, or they'll say I saw your dish, and most of the time it's very
current.
amicable.
Yeah.
It's them being hard on themselves about what they should have done, or what they didn't do, or if they think they're going to get chopped or something like that.
Did you ever have anybody get chopped and they just walked away super mad?
Oh yeah. A lot of people are mad. Nobody comes to lose.
Nobody comes to
No
lose.
one comes to
It
lose.
is competitive.
Yeah, it's very competitive, and there's a lot of tears.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of tears that you don't see.
Yeah.
Adults and kids.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of tears, and that's okay. It's a really stressful day. So, think about being up at 6 and just having your adrenaline pumping all day
Could we
long.
do it?
I know.
I
I'm
can't
I
imagine
was
making a
trying to
meal in
recruit-
20 minutes.
'Cause
I
we've
I
done-
would just get the ingredients out in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I could do one thing in 20 minutes.
It's
But
pretty amazing.
yeah, but the thing I love about Chopped is that it's educational. Like
It
you will
is.
always, if you watch, you'll always pick
entertaining.
up something,
Yeah.
some little nugget
Yeah,
of,
that's true.
or whether it's an ingredient you don't know or a technique you don't know, and like every single time. And I'll be like, oh, I didn't even think to do that. I can do that. And I also like it because it's a family show, and I can tell my mom to watch,
That's
and I
true.
can tell my nephews to watch, and like everyone here,
And I have
can
to
watch
say
the show.
that
And
almost anybody you ask the question, have you seen the show Chopped? They have. It's definitely a brand that's definitely
Yeah.
recognized. It's not minor. It's definitely part of the food movement. It's definitely part of our lifestyles today to have these kinds of shows. And it's kudos to Chop to have been that brave, to come up with something that was actually clever and fun, that you could sit down sometimes and watch like 20 of them in a row.
yeah, a lot of people
And not actually
say,
get
yeah.
bored.
Right.
And do other work while you're doing it and have it just, right, exactly. And not really ever be bored.
It's kind of funny to hear it in the pop culture
Yeah, it's very
area.
popular.
I was sitting at a Broadway show recently. It was called Fully Committed, and there's a scene, and it's about Jesse Tyler Ferguson, and he's in a restaurant, and he works for a chef, and he's literally. The chef calls him, and I guess the chef on the other end says, like, what kind of messages or what's going on downstairs, and he goes, oh, the casting director at Chop called, and they want you to audition for a judge or something, and I was like, oh my God.
I know, right?
I had to laugh so hard because I'm sitting there internally, laughing, or I probably laughed out loud.
It's quite,
And it's like
it's a movement. It's quite interesting, and it
reached
also
a-
has spurred. Look what's following. I mean, we know all these shows that are shows like we would know Fathers Knows Best. We know these kinds of shows today. It's part of our culture. What are you casting for today? Because I know you're taking this lovely break at the Golden Door, but I know you're going back to.
I know.
The
So
lovely casting couch.
So when I get back, my focus is going to be on Chopped. I mean, for the past year, I would say between Chopped and Chopped Junior, it's taken up a really good amount of time. I do other things. I do other things that are not food related, but I do a lot of, because I've been in the food world for so long, I get a lot of calls for food related things, restaurateurs. I also worked on, I could name all the shows, but restaurateurs, chefs, cooks, anybody in the culinary industry.
I know there's one called Fix Kitchen.
Fix's Kitchen. We were talking about that. I was talking about that with Erica, with Eric Greenspan, and like it was a great show. It was like a chef and a designer would go in and fix the kitchen, but the kitchen would be from a designer perspective and a chef's perspective. So I was hired to find the chef and the great baking competition. The judges. I was doing the judges. And what else? Oh, Restaurant Startup. There's a CNBC, I think, Restaurant Startup, where it's a little like Shark Tank for the food industry. And I was hired to find sort of experts and restaurateurs and things like that.
Every night that we have our interview, the last question of the night is always, what? He's looking at me like, oh my goodness. Our guests would love to have a golden nugget from the woman who's casting and finding all these incredible chefs and people to share this on Chopped. But what golden nugget could these guys take away from you?
Gosh, okay. Well, two things I would say. One is just to remember that everybody has a story. Everyone has a story. And I find it so fascinating to meet so many different people. I mean, especially here. I've met so many different people. My wheel's already spinning about, who can I contact for this and who can and I want to learn more about that. And so it's just important to remember that everybody has a story, and not to maybe dismiss people so quickly. And the other thing I've learned about food is to try. Just try. You might not like it, but to just try it.